to welcome everyone. Philippe, Christian from Beirut, our panelists this afternoon. We have here Geneva team live committee. We have Jean-Claude Mrad, we have Jean-Pierre Hanna, and myself, Selim Ferrali. Of course, we have the famous distancing situation. That's the reason we are quite distant from each other in Geneva. And we have the same, I think, in Beirut. You have you are at two different locations, correct, Philippe and Christian?
Yeah.
Jihan, I would like first to thank you and the team, Zena, Fred, for organizing this webinar. I think I understand we have reached quite nice numbers so far, quite decent. And thank you for sharing this pie chart. And as you can see, this is quite an achievement. We are in Geneva prompting this webinar, and we have all over the world, all the attendees, and we are very proud of this. And this is really a picture of our Lebanese community outside Lebanon. So now we can start. And the idea, actually, I mean, before starting, I would like to tell you how how we came up with this idea of Lebanon export and the charity versus impact investment, etc. And this came up after a discussion we had in Geneva at the committee level, and we realized that there is really too much noise and too much discussions about the situation in Lebanon, the dire situation of the economic system, the political imbroglio, etc. The things that are frustrating all of us, and everybody is becoming an expert in economy, an expert in monetary policy, an expert in fiscal policy, and everyone has a different view, and everyone is an expert today. So we said, let's have something which is quite different, and we know that the situation is dramatic. We would like to share with you maybe if you can share our enthusiasm, because we have some enthusiasm out of all this. We can see the light out of the tunnel, believe me. We can see the glass quite half full and not completely dry. And we think that we have nice stories, and I hope at the end of this webinar, all of you guys would be maybe not convinced, but will share at least our enthusiasm. And the idea was to start talking about subjects that are constructive, positive, and can help our dear countries that is in a dire situation. And I would like to share with you the idea how it first started with Jean-Claude, actually, who had a beautiful story to tell us. And I will leave Jean-Claude explain what is the story all about. Jean-Claude, please.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I was attending in December 2018 a forum which was held in Lebanon at the hotel, Four Seasons Hotel near the Phoenicia. It was a forum of the Lebanese diaspora energy. And during this forum, there was a special section to listen to the young entrepreneur. When I say young entrepreneur, the oldest was 27 years. Each one of them had realized a nice project. And all of a sudden, a French guy came to the chair to tell us a story which until now is very clear in my mind. This guy has never heard about Lebanon before being interested in what he took care of. And somebody told him, you know, nearby the famous Lebanese cedars, you can find a fantastic quality of honey. Oh, so he came to Lebanon with a team of 5 experts. And as a matter of fact, he found that, well, this is a fantastic honey. Why not to exploit it and to export it? And nowadays, they are exporting this honey all over the world, and they are furnishing some of the famous restaurants. Just to confirm what I just told you, my wife in Geneva, she went to the supermarket and she bought saffron. You know what saffron? A small
Za'afaran.
Small thing like this. 18 Swiss francs, which is almost $20. So I was wondering if we are able to attract people with the quality of what we have in Lebanon, why not to try to promote the products of the agriculture and see to which extent it can help us to employ people and to capture the interest of people in doing something which will bring them revenue and which will keep them somehow far from being enrolled by political parties.
Well, you see, this is how we came up with this theme, and while discussing with Zena, with Shihan, with Fred, they told us, guys, we have something called the Fair Trade Lebanon. They're doing what you guys are describing, and this is how we got in contact with Christian and Philippe, and this is how today we're gonna share with you what they are doing, and it will be a debate. What I would like from you, all the people listening to us, because we are quite numerous on this webinar, you have Q&A, so you can ask questions, send written questions, and at the end, while we are doing this webinar, we try to answer questions if you can answer them, of course, immediately. If not, it will be at the end, or you can, at the end, you have a Q&A session where you will be able to ask questions to us and also to the panelists, Philippe and Christian. Now, I would like, before starting the panel discussion, I would like Jihan to show us the situation. I'm sure you all are familiar with what is happening and what is the situation in Lebanon, but it is nice to just remember to see how dire situation is and to show some slides. So Jihan, if you can start with the first one, please. So I mean, we don't need a lot of comment on that one. You understand exactly the situation. Since the end of the civil war, late 90s, up until today, the central bank has been recapitalizing the government, and the government was supposed to recapitalize the economy. I say suppose. I mean, we are not going to open a debate. Just this is the situation today. And this is unfortunately what happened in Lebanon. The government didn't recapitalize the economy at all. By the way, before we continue on the next slides, this slides, I took it yesterday from a JP Morgan presentation about the US economy today. So just a little thing about this situation of the USA today, where they have the capacity of having a recapitalization of the economy, which was not the case for the 30 years in Lebanon. The next slide, please. Okay, this one is coming from The Economist, and it is showing you the situation of Lebanon in terms of the public debt, the foreign debt, the cost of borrowing, and the reserve cover. As you can see, we are on number 65, just a notch above Venezuela and just below Zambia. Okay, we think we were very proud of our system and our economy, but look, guys, this is the situation today in Lebanon. I mean, Argentina is far better than us, far better than us. We are at number 65 on 66. All dashboard is red. The only one which is not really red is the last one, the reserve, and this is because of the gold that we are holding as a reserve on the gold side. Next one, please. This is also a visual thing showing you what is Lebanon exporting, what kind of goods we are exporting. And if you look quickly at them, you can see that there's nothing which is sizable in terms of virtuous, if you want, product that we are exporting in Lebanon. Next one, please. These are the countries where we are exporting. Of course, UAE is important and the Gulf countries are important. Next one. These are the imports. So you can see that we are importing a lot of consumers, and very few input that will be used to be recycled for an export segment. Now, I would like to also mention that well, this one is situation of the Lebanon today in terms of the ratio between the deposit and the GDP. You can see that the first two countries are international places where you have a lot of capital to be reinvested, capital market, corporate, etc., international. Unfortunately, Lebanon, all the money is sitting on the banks doing nothing, and this is what we call in France at the time of Monsieur Mitterrand, le capital paresseux, which is money that is not going into and not flowing into the real economy. And this has been the case for the last, I don't know, couple of 2 decades minimum. So this is the situation. We are not going to open a webinar about it, but maybe in the future we'll have another webinar with some other panelists. But this is to show you where we are and what is the situation. A quick reminder. Now, I would like also to draw your attention that we at LIFE, our mission, of course, is to help students and to promote, to do nurture, etc. With the current situation and because of the emergency and the tragic situation that we are suffering in Lebanon, we have been doing a lot of charity, and Jean-Pierre can remind us a little bit quickly of what we have been doing so far in terms of charity.
Yeah, thank you, Selim. Hi, everyone. Yeah, actually, in response of the quite sad, dire, and deteriorating economic and humanitarian situation that Lebanon is currently facing, LIFE has launched the Emergency Relief Fund. The phase 1 of this initiative raised about $323,000 in donations to support 7 NGOs, each one having a specific project. And given the success of that initiative, LIFE has, in addition, is currently launching the phase 2 that already raised $55,000 in favor of other projects.
Perfect. So this was a quick reminder of what we have been doing so far in terms of charity, and it is a good transition for our webinar just today. Charity is good. We need charity. But there's a moment where we have kind of a fatigue. Our donors and even ourselves, we have kind of fatigue. Fatigue not of giving, but fatigue of giving only for charity. We think that our people in Lebanon and the Lebanese, which have a high degree of knowledge, of education, I mean, they deserve something better than only charity. Giving with an impact is something we really believe in. You've heard the story of Jean-Claude about this honey guy that making a difference on the ground. If we have more initiative like this guy that you described, like what we're going to hear now about Terroir du Liban and Fair Trade Lebanon and what they've been doing and the experience they're going to tell us, I think we could make a difference. And believe me, this is the time to make something big for Lebanon. I mean, in the history of Lebanon, just to remind the modern history of Lebanon, we have never had this kind of opportunity. Yes, it is difficult. We're gonna pass through very difficult times, but believe me, when you listen and you see the initiative that we can see and the thing that we can reach and the potential, we can make a difference. This gives me the opportunity also to tell you that you're gonna have some questions and some polls that Shihan is gonna send you during the webinar, so please answer and you will have the result immediately. It is quite an interactive webinar. So Philippe, thank you for being with us. I mean, you have a lot of things to tell us, I'm sure, and it is maybe nice if you can introduce Fair Trade Lebanon quickly. Thank you.
This is the time I should be also sharing the presentation, right? Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm going to do it right. Here we go. Okay, is it okay? Can you see it, Selim?
Yeah, perfect.
So, okay, Philippe Adaimi, I am one of the 5 founders of Fair Trade Lebanon. This happened like 14 years ago, back in 2005. And the idea behind this is that it came out of two strong ideas. The first is that in Lebanon, we have a lot of savoir-faire, a lot of skills. I personally lived abroad for a long time, and I was dying for a nice hummus, you know, and couldn't find that. So basically, loving the cuisine, at one point I said with some friends that we need to make something different. We need to shift into a productive economy and to start producing and exporting. And while seeing what are the channels in 2005 and opportunities to export, two big ideas arise. Is that first of all, we think that the Lebanese cuisine has a lot of success abroad. It is today considered like as a gourmet thing. And the other issue is that we still have uniqueness. We still have a lot of knowledge in specific foods. So why not export them and share it abroad? So these are the two main ideas that were behind Fair Trade Lebanon. So back in 2005, to make things short, we have started this as an NGO with a main goal, which is to improve the livelihoods of the most disadvantaged people, but through a slogan, which is trade, not aid. Fair Trade Lebanon does not aid. It doesn't give money. It doesn't help. Fair Trade Lebanon supports to access the market and to live out of your work, to live out of your products. So our objective, besides helping people staying in their villages, as we all know, if you live in a remote area, maybe $1,000 per month would help a whole family live. Whereas in Beirut, if you have to rent and phone, etc., it goes away. So basically, the idea is how to help people stay in the countryside, work and live out of the work, and create by that a local economy. So this is what Fair Trade Lebanon main goal was about. And our objectives is to help people access to market. We know that in these remote areas, there are a lot of issues, mainly how to sell their products. Everybody is ready to work, to prepare. It is not true that the Lebanese products are not all of very good quality, or there is a lot of fraud and things like that. If we pay the fair price, we'll get the fair products, knowing that you give peanuts, you get the monkey. So basically, this is one of the main ideas of fair trade, is paying a fair price. And promote the Lebanese food heritage abroad. A few words on the fair trade. Fair trade is about creating opportunities to people, and it has like 10 very strong principles in order to be part of this fair trade. One of them being, of course, paying a fair price, but there are two other big and very difficult principles that needs to be followed, which are one, the traceability of the products, and two, transparency. Without transparency and traceability, there is no fair trade. There is no fair trade logo, there's no fair trade certification. And this is one of the most difficult principles that a Lebanese can accept, is to open his books, be transparent. We all know what's happening today in our country. It's Lebanon and the figures, Lebanon and the maths. It's something that's quite complicated. So basically, our selection was to go to small cooperatives, propose the idea, gives them access to market, and then tells them these are the rules you must abide with in order to get the certification, and then be able to get access to international markets. As you can see below, you will have here a logo. This is a World Fair Trade Organization logo, kind of a certification that we'll see a little bit later, that will make sure that the products are really certified and these principles are followed. The other idea behind the fair trade in Lebanon is to keep in Lebanon the value added. We all know that value added goes wherever the production is done. I mean, the money is in the production, in the product itself. It's not in the raw material. So basically, we have led the big fight with Fair Trade International, who wanted to take the raw material from Lebanon and do it in Europe, as they do for chocolate, let's say, or for, everything like coffee, chocolate, and the traditional products of fair trade. And it took us a few years to convince them that in Lebanon, we are not an agricultural country as, as in, let's say, a big country like Chile or wherever you want, to have these huge amount of raw material. We told them that we are going to sell you a product that's done in Lebanon according to international standards, and that all the value will come to Lebanese people in Lebanon. Here you can see logos of the different certifications. The first two, it's the one is Fair Trade. It is a certification that's given by Fair Trade International, what we call FLOW, Fair Trade Labeling Organization. It's based in Germany, and they send audits once or twice a year in order to grant you this certification that will ensure that the products are locally made, originally made, and abide by all the principles of fair trade. Again, we have at Fair Trade Lebanon 12 products that are certified FLOW. We also are part of the World Fair Trade Organization and WFTO, and we have like 79 products that are certified WFTO guaranteed. The third one is the organic. Everybody knows about the bio products and organic products. And the last one that you see now is a logo or a guarantee that Fair Trade Lebanon gives today to Lebanese producers, which is called TEC, Transparency, Ethics, and Quality. And we guaranteed fair trade. This certification is today acknowledged in the International Fair Trade Organization as one of the accepted certifications, and it's the Lebanese one. We have wrote all the guidelines, and we have our own ICS, which is an internal control system. Some of our work at Fair Trade Lebanon today, we have like 1,500 beneficiaries around the country. We work with 49 cooperatives and SMEs, more than 1,000 women empowered that are today trained in order to deliver the product as the international standards. We have impacted 200 jobs. We have to be very humble and say we are not creating jobs. We are helping people to stay in their countryside, to keep the jobs that they have. And we think that if we can keep people working and help the economy not to destroy jobs as it's happening today, it would be something that we would really be proud of. And also we have had like 300 training. These were the figures for 2019. What we also do is vocational trainings, like for catering, money, hygiene, management, marketing, social media, etc. Our main work is to help a producer make his product sellable abroad, how to abide by the international standard, how to implement the HASP, how to implement the global gap, etc., etc. And of course, working on awareness on the fair trade movement. Very quickly, a few words on the partners we work with in Lebanon. We believe that we have to be many if we want to win this battle against poverty and against rural exodus, also against tension to different communities. This is why we have launched several partnerships, whether with local NGOs, international NGOs, and or universities. We have a lot of programs in the universities in order to raise awareness with the students, maybe have some summer jobs in order to go back to the earth, go back to the land, know what is a olive tree, how do we pick the olives, how do we harvest the wheat, etc., etc. How is it funded? Fair Trade Lebanon is an NGO, so it doesn't make any money. It relies solely on the fundings that we get from partners through writing programs, what we call programs, and the programs come here and help ensure or equip the cooperatives, the SMEs. We have had several programs we still do with Expertise France, the AFD, the French Coopération Française. We also have several programs with the World Food Program, with the UN, United Nations. We have a large program with the US MEPI and the United States and Canada, UN, and so on. Okay. these are a few examples of what we do in kind of promoting the World Fair Trade Day in collaboration with many international fair trade companies around the world. Okay, also a picture of some ladies doing dressage. And with this, I come to the end of our presentation and open to questions.
Philippe, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this presentation about Fair Trade Lebanon. Before we continue, we forgot to send the poll, so we're gonna take like a few minutes. Jihan, if you can send the first question for the audience.
Yeah, it's on there. So
you think Lebanon has the potential? Can you read the rest? Because to
yes.
become an export-oriented country, yes, not sure, or no. Please answer.
Just a few more people to vote, and then I can share with you the results directly. Anybody else? Okay.
Okay.
You can see the results.
Yeah, decent answer. I'm not surprised. I'm happy about it. Next one.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Would you be inclined to purchase a product made in Lebanon? Yes, at any price, as long as it is quality certified. Yes, but only if price is comparable to similar products, or simply no.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, so the results are
57%.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
Voilà.
Yes, but only if price with similar product. Okay.
So there is some price sensitivity.
Yeah, sure. Price sensitivity, definitely, yes, I understand. Now, I have maybe here on the panel here in Geneva, we have a question from Jean-Pierre to Philippe.
Yes, hi Philippe, Jean-Pierre here. A question, actually two questions. How do you identify the right and scalable product, and how do you provide those products that you have already identified access to international markets and make sure that they reach the shelves abroad?
Okay, long story short, we do a lot of international fairs, and we do a lot of market exploration at Fair Trade Lebanon, which means that we come across a lot of importers, a lot of distributors, and we try to see what are the products that have a chance to be sold. Basically, importers and distributors know what are the potential they have in their market, and they would guide you. We need this product rather than this one, etc. So basically, it's with the market exploration and connecting directly to the distributors abroad.
Actually, Jean-Pierre, if you don't mind, I'll just add one other element. Fair Trade Lebanon is also 15 years worth of building on quality and on good behavior with these producers. You know, to access these international markets, you need to abide by these certifications. It's not a big secret. And to stay in the international markets, you need to maintain your levels of quality. And that's what Fair Trade has been doing for the past 15 years. I myself, was very pleasantly surprised when you can find za'atar produced in a small village in the south of Lebanon in Whole Foods in California. You know, when you're talking about these kind of standards, it is impressive, but it takes years of changing habits.
Okay, I mean, it is worth to remind you that Lebanon at the time of the Roman Empire was a cellar, the grenier of the Roman Empire. So I mean, we have a huge history of cultivating the land and producing product intensively and in quality. of course, here the thing that we have listened to Philippe, it's more quality than anything else, and we totally like what we just heard from Philippe and Christian. Philippe and Christian, the first time we discussed, you told me a very beautiful story about Rashaya and about Bint Jbeil. If you can share with us the story of how you have made changes in people, how the financial situation of these ladies in Rashaya changed, how these villages in the south of Lebanon that were not talking to each other started talking. It would be nice maybe for our auditors to listen to that.
Yeah, sure. One of the big successes of Fair Trade Lebanon today is having the possibility to export for more than 13 countries around the world. We export products in the US, in all of Europe, UK, etc. Some Gulf countries. And Fair Trade Lebanon practically does not produce anything. Everything comes from cooperatives, from SMEs, from small units. This experience started with a group of 23 ladies in Rashaya and Haitzi, ladies that used to do their own muni for their village. And the muni that they used to prepare was for the village, and they used, each and every one of them used to make a net revenue per year of $50. It was $50 per year per lady. 7-8 years later of hard work, seriousness, these ladies are making $500 per month as net revenue. This is to tell you what kind of an impact Fair Trade Lebanon and the buyers abroad could do to such a cooperative. And there were like 22 or 23 ladies. Today they work like 40 or 42. So
when
basically,
was that, Philippe? Which year?
We started working with them back in 2008.
Okay.
We have a couple of other small examples. I want to jump back to the saffron story. You might know that we sell the half a gram of saffron to Austria at $10, the small item. So basically, yes, I have learned that Lebanon was reputed in the Middle Ages for its saffron. And there is a book called, written on Lebanon. It's called The Saffron du Mont Liban. So basically, yes, we have a lot of things that we are rediscovering while traveling in our country and countrysides. One of the stories that impressed me most also is like 12 villages in Deir al-Ahmar in the north that used to grow crops of illicit crops like hashish and things like that. They were living in an illegal way. They were always afraid of, the buyers and things like that. Like back in 2009, they started, 2004, they started growing vine and grape. And in 2009, they had the first wine that came out of this place. And this wine today is sold in the UK, in France, in the USA. It's certified fair trade and bio. It's 350 families living legally, being not scared any longer of everything related to, drug dealers and such mafias. And one other example of people working together from different communities, this is an example that I really like, because we really think that, let's say in the south or in certain areas, people don't work, cannot live with each other. It's true. Now, I think that all of us Lebanese like our pockets, like to make money and to, and if this means that you have to work together, if you put them together and you say, okay, you have common interest, you have the press because we provide equipment, you have the press for olive oil and you have the bottling machines, then we want to take a harvest from here, picking from here, pressing there, and at the end of the day, bottling in this place. We made all of these people work together, and they started with a very tense relationship. And then with years, it started back in 2005, and everybody knows at that time how difficult it was in this region, in Bint Jbeil. And today they are friends, they work together, and they make money together. So basically, we think that promoting and developing local economic interest and development is something that has a future for us Lebanese.
Yeah, very impressive stories. Philippe, Christian, I think we have a couple of questions here. But before we go through the questions, I would like you also, because I understand that you have also you are sitting on another company called Terroir du Liban that is producing beautiful quality product, and you are basically exporting a lot. And you also have this label, which is Fair Trade Lebanon. And I think just for the matter of not having kind of confusion for the auditors, can you explain how you balance a potential or if there is a potential conflict of interest by having a label for a company where you produce your own products? And the second part of the questions, how many companies at the export level in Lebanon have the certification of Fair Trade Lebanon?
Okay, so it's a question that we are asked every day. Is there a conflict of interest, yes or no? The first thing to know is that Fair Trade Lebanon is an NGO. We have a sister company, it's a for-profit company, that's called FTTL, Fair Trade and Tourism Lebanon, which is a for-profit one, which buys the products, does the marketing and exports mainly, or buy also in the local market in Lebanon. Is there a conflict of interest? We did not invent the wheel. We did not come up with this idea. This is the way it happens all over Europe. All of the importers, that fair trade importers, have an NGO that comes and support and help. Again, trade, not aid. When we talk about help, it's not about giving money. It's about investing the money for something. Somebody was asking in one of the questions, do the producer pay for the certification? No. It's like 3,000 euros per year. It's very expensive. It's the NGOs that comes and pay this certification for the international bodies, the international auditors. What we need to know is that Terroir du Liban, the brand is owned by the NGO, yes, but it's not the NGO, it's not the for-profit that produces. So basically, it's all of these 49 entities, SMEs, cooperatives, who are Terroir du Liban. Now, the thing is that in these companies and these SMEs, these cooperatives, they can produce, and they do produce for us, for the export, for fair trade, and they do produce for them. Terroir du Liban and the logos, the fair trade, the tech, quality logos, quality certification, the HASP, is applied to the product that we are going to buy. Now, meaning that if they want to lower a little bit the quality of what they do for other buyers, this is something that we do not interfere with. But everything that is related to selling under the Terroir du Liban brand, which is ours, we have a very strict control from our auditors, internal auditors, for our internal control system, and from international auditors. As for the rest of their production, if any, we do not intervene with it. But it is also very well separated. We have special warehouses for our product. This is where Terroir du Liban, or the company, comes, that we select the products. We make sure that all the guidance have been followed properly, that the HAS has been properly executed. We control, and if everything goes right, yes, we buy and we launch it. So basically, Terroir du Liban, it is our brand, and it's also everyone's brand. When you go to this cooperative in Vintage Bale, they tell you we have Terroir du Liban. There is this ownership of Terroir du Liban all over the network of Fair Trade Lebanon.
Okay, have you given certification for a lot of companies exporting products in Lebanon, or?
Absolutely not. Not because we don't want to, but we need to know that the rules or the principles of fair trade, it's not I who have said them, and people have to agree on these principles. It's not you pick what you like. I want to export, okay, but I don't want the principles gone. Meaning that we need the full transparency of what you are paying to every worker. Are you paying him correctly? Are you giving the fair price? And these companies, they need to open books. We work in an open book. When I go to my buyer, and everybody does this, even in the conventional markets, we break down the cost. We help them decrease the costs, if any. And to do so, when you go to a buyer like Carrefour, he will stand with you and tell you, why is this that expensive? Let me know your cost. And we break it down. So basically, this is what we need to do. And many of local companies till this day might not be ready for this exercise.
Okay. Philippe, in terms of difficulties, I mean, before talking, discussing about difficulties that you guys are experiencing today and the lack of support from any government and from the ministry, do you think that Lebanon has the potential to produce something different from food processed or food product, like art, craftsman thing, like maybe, I don't know, hats, where you have like talented know-how, we have sewage things or etoffe or thing like this, or maybe some more complicated or technological products. I mean, what is your view about that?
I think traditionally Lebanon has a lot of strengths in everything related to creativity. We have had some of the best media and advertising companies in the region. We have been very successful also in everything related to haute couture and you know, gowns and dresses. The names of the Lebanese haute couture people are all over the world, and we are very good in the Lebanese cuisine. I think that these are three main pillars that we think Lebanon is good at, plus the banking system. Maybe I should talk in the past, I don't know, but this is something we are good at in Lebanon.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Yes, creating some fashionable products, artifacts, clothes, and things like this is a huge potential, especially for youngsters and Instagram and things like that. It's incredible what we can export with our knowledge and our skill, our creativity in Lebanon.
Yeah. I think Jean-Claude has a question for you.
No, not a question.
No?
I would like to bring to the table another story that I have lived personally. I'm living in Switzerland, as you know, since 40 years. In the second quarter of 2017, one of our friends, a Swiss guy, had his anniversary. And we constituted a group of 6 people, and we made for him the surprise to take him to Lebanon. None of the people who were with me, we were in total 6, me and 5 people, none of them had visited Lebanon before. That was in, if I'm not mistaken, in March 2017. Since then, each of those 5 other people, they went back to Lebanon at least 5 times with their families. And they started promoting, legally I cannot mention any specific mark, they started promoting the Lebanese wine. And one time we tried an experience. We had very famous Bordeaux and some Lebanese wine. We let them test the wine blindly. This is fantastic. What kind of Bordeaux it is? It's a Lebanese wine. So just to tell you how people would like to know better the Lebanese product. And unfortunately, in my opinion, there is no enough promotion and communication with the outside people.
I mean, thank you for this remark, and it comes to the next question I was going to ask to Philippe about there's not enough, people are not doing enough, which is the government is not, we have no government, unfortunately. We have no support for this kind of nibbling, exporting business and high quality that we have. And Philippe, tell us more about this. I mean, what is your daily life? Of course, we don't need all your confessions, but I mean, the highlight of how you are surviving. I mean, of course, there's no, can you confirm that there's no support at all?
Let me tell you, there is no support at all. We all agree on it. But Fairtrade Lebanon succeeded in working with the ministries in order to avoid obstacles. If they do not stop you or block you, I think for us this is an achievement in Lebanon. If you can export within 2 days and not make you wait like 2 weeks on the port, this is an achievement. If you can, avoid to bribe every time you have a container to export, this is an achievement. And such achievements are things that are becoming more and more a reality, because we discuss a lot with general directors of the ministries. We explain that we need to do this for the country, blah, blah, blah. I know it's not easy, but it is feasible. And I think that today we have a big opportunity with what's happening to push people to work in good standards in order to get fresh cash from abroad.
Yeah.
But yes, we have lost the support of the banks. Huh? One day I wake up and they told me in two of the banks we work with, you know what, Mr. Adaimi, we have stopped your credit line overnight.
Okay, I mean, yeah, this brings us to the famous question and the existence of this webinar specifically. I mean, the lack of support from money is important. It is le nerf de la guerre, and you have now a little poll coming about the Lebanese government is paralyzed by the political embargo. Do you think the local Lebanese community can fill the gap with a political approach? Yes, as stated by the diaspora, meaning I don't like this word diaspora, and everybody knows about it. I mean, diaspora is too much for me tinted with religion. Yes, assisted by the Lebanese community abroad. Yes, unassisted, or no, it needs to be part of a concerted government effort. I mean, it would be nice if we can have the view of the listeners, please. Do we have any answer, Jihan? Ah, okay. Yes, assisted by the diaspora. I mean, fantastic. I mean, yeah. Thank you for that. Do we have a next one, or Jihan? Sending money to Lebanon. Do you prefer sending money to Lebanon? We have many. You can choose many answers. Choix multiple, either for charitable causes or for efforts that work towards job creation and ensuring hope, dignity for Lebanese people, so with an impact, or for efforts that works towards job creation while also providing you with a return on your donation, which is a virtuous cycle, or all the others, or for other reasons, or one of all these four multiple choices. So you understand, you can choose one or two or three or all of them.
Okay, here are the results.
Oof. Okay. For efforts that works toward job creation and ensuring hope, dignity for the Lebanese with impact. Nice. So actually, it's a big yes. It's a big yes. So I mean, by the way, I mean, having seen all these answers, I can comfortably think that we at Life represent the Lebanese community outside Lebanon, and the demand, Christian and Philippe, Christian, the demand is existing. I mean, now we need the supply. You have to bring the supply on the table, and maybe we should think of a nice platform and nice logistic where you have the product, you have the quality product, and you have the stempel that it is a quality product. And guys, you have a demand which is here, and it can build up, and it make huge difference. I mean, this money that you don't have from the banks today, you will have it by simply sending products. Now it will bring me to another topic, but before we continue, we have a lot of questions actually that was not answered, Christian. One of the question is, out of the 89 products that you have, what is your best seller? In what countries do you sell your products?
We have a top 3 or 4 products we can say that are very popular. Among them, the hummus, among them the za'atar, among them the wine and the olive oil. So it wouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. It's the typical Lebanese products that we think about. And again, it's all about quality. We produce a high quality extra virgin organic olive oil, which isn't something you find a lot in the country. The wine is made out of organically certified grapes, which is also something you don't find a lot. So, you know, we try to break down the process and work on each step of the quality.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you before the question about what are the other products we could export out of Lebanon. It reminded me that when we had the crisis of 2008, the famous crisis, and just after we had the Greece fallout in Greece, the Greek answer, one of the answer was quite amazing, which was promote a Greek product. And they have this company called Kokomat. I don't know if you know Kokomat. They produce local Greek mattresses for bed. They produce everything which is wooden, made in Greece, intensive labor forces of product. And it worked very much. And they're exporting all around the world today. So it brings me to the other question that I asked to Philip. I mean, what are the other products that Lebanon can promote and could be successful into it? I mean, if you don't know, that's not a problem. But if you have some idea, it'd be nice to hear Philip or Christian.
Besides, let me start with what I know. What I know is that za'atar is tomorrow's hummus. In the US today, they are starting to discover za'atar. We have an order of like for 2020 of 60 tons. And it's just a start for manouche and things like that. We think that there are some food products that would be really very, very interesting to dig in and to work on. Besides this, I think that all of the products that are related to creativity, to art, like all of kind of things that accessories that you would buy made by young artists, young generation, also is something that can have a lot of success abroad.
Sure.
And I believe in Lebanese wine. You were talking about it. Today, with more than 40 different wineries in Lebanon, we really have some excellent boutique wines we can be proud of.
Sure. So, if I mean, have you thought of having a kind of an Amazon channel to start selling your products through Amazon, or you didn't think about it, or you are doing it, or what do you do?
Today we are still working on it. It is not an easy process. It's a long process and it's a little bit complicated. We are today raising funds to implement a platform, a sales platform in Europe that would, on one hand, make sure that the products are directly distributed to the B2C, to the final consumers, the final customers. And secondly, make sure also that we can ensure the payments, because with what's happening today with the banks, it's been quite hectic, you know, to get the bank out of the money to pay the producers. There are small producers, and it's really very hectic. So yes, I really believe that e-commerce will save the production in Lebanon.
You mean e-commerce?
E-commerce, yeah. E-commerce, yeah.
And
whether through Ali, through Alibaba, through Amazon, whoever, whether it's food or non-food, e-commerce is for us the future. Yeah.
Let's think a little bit. Let's dream a little bit. If you have a platform today, if we deliver a platform, I say we is us. We deliver a platform commonly with a logistic system where you can ship your goods. Do you think we have enough product to propose for the Lebanese? Don't forget, Lebanon is not Lebanon in Beirut. Lebanon is Lebanon with us living outside Lebanon. The community is large. We have the power to purchase. we can make a difference. We can bring back hard currencies to the country. And today, we all know that Lebanon is suffering from a lot of hard currency. We don't have enough. We don't have at all, actually. It disappeared, evaporated. Okay, so if we can bring back this money by investing in, do we have enough of companies where we can invest to produce this product? That's the first question. And the second question is, you have a beautiful opportunity in Lebanon today by counting on us. Today, Lebanon is like a runner that does not have any feet anymore, paraplegic, paralyzed, and he needs an exoskeleton to start walking again. The exoskeleton is us. We are Lebanon outside Lebanon. We have this power of having and bringing you demand on the table. But do you have enough food to put on the table for us to consume?
Yes, maybe one thing, Salim, and I don't, no pun intended, but we need to breathe life back into Lebanon, and you know, by life I mean the network you mentioned, the exoskeleton is such a powerful image, and it's so important today. We need to have access to good funding, to clean funding. We need to build positive market dynamics, and by that I mean, on our end, making sure that we have the production capacity, making sure that we can organize people on the ground. That's our job. But we can't, you know, we're not into finance, we're not into funding sources. And funding is, you mentioned it before, le nerf de la guerre. That's, you know, it makes it or it breaks it. So having these options, and on our side, being able to build decent portfolios, you know, decent opportunities for people who want to invest wisely. You know, I think there's a lot of great elements around the table to make it happen. It is an opportunity that we're going through today. The system is dead. Yeah. So
can I just interrupt you? Jihan, can you show the last slides about the exoskeleton, and then we can continue? Yeah, I mean, by looking at that, what about a Marshall Economic Plan, Lebanese for Lebanon? And you can see that we are the exoskeleton, Christian and Philippe. Lebanese economy is on a halt day. The reasons are many, political, and we have no power on them. We feel that there is a real fatigue from the traditional donors for Lebanon in general. This is the first time in the modern history of our country that we have the chance to take the economic destiny of the country in hand and steer it. The idea is to create an impact investment scheme. Now we can discuss it, not on this webinar, but the next one, maybe it will be the next one. Credit sympathy. We have a credit, you have, I mean, Lebanon, you have a credit sympathy with us. We still have it, huh? Lebanese community. Merci, mon Dieu. The theme is Lebanon Marshall Scheme, Lebanese for Lebanon. Let's take our destiny in hand. The impact scheme is a virtuous one, creating jobs, bring back dignity for the people, removing them from the street, as you mentioned, Jean-Claude, and bring back hard currency to the country. So if we try to achieve this, I think we can make the difference. We don't need, of course, we're going to leave them accusing themselves who did what and why we arrived at this dire situation in the country, but we need to have a quality control product certification, same as what you guys are doing. But do you think we have enough ways to invest if we can channel some money to be invested in Lebanon?
Yeah.
I mean, this is our domain. I mean, finance is our domain. We can create a lot of notes. We can then create secondary markets. We can have a lot of banks that are outside Lebanon that can help us to create these notes. And we can have short-term notes invested in certain balance sheet of some companies in Lebanon to expand and to help you have this funding instead of counting on the Lebanese traditional banks. There's a lot of ways of doing this, a lot of instruments we can create. But now the question is very important, what you're going to give us as an answer. Again, I ask a question, do you think there's enough Lebanese companies that are ready to receive money and to have a quality control on them and make sure that we have full transparency that these companies are going to use this money in a efficient way and credible way to produce this product that will be put then on this platform? And we guys, I mean, every day we're going to shop on this network. I mean, I go and instead of going and buying on co-op, online co-op is a traditional retailer here in Switzerland or Migros. We're going to go on this network and buy your product, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. It's of this exoskeleton. I really think that it's for Lebanon. It is really today. It's maybe the only chance that we have if you want to avoid a total collapse of the system. And I am measuring my words. Today, the situation is what it is. There is no money in the country. There are no dollars. The banks are, let's say, at most bankrupt or very close to bankruptcy and things like that. So basically, all the producers today would do anything you ask to sustain, to stay alive for tomorrow. You would ask me this like a couple of years ago. I would tell you there is no way two Lebanese in Lebanon come together, make a cluster, work together and promote the country, not their own maybe egos or things like that. I think that the situation has dramatically changed in Lebanon. What we are living here today is something that's really incredible. If you have money in the bank, you are a poor guy. If you don't have money in the bank, you are a poor guy. If you have credit, you are a poor guy. What's happening is really crazy. You really can't understand or accept in our minds. I was discussing with a major economist, Lebanese one, living abroad in Singapore, and he's now listening to me. He couldn't understand what does it mean that the bank wouldn't give you your money. No. It's ununderstandable that your money is lost somewhere. So basically, the only way out is through production, and sales. I like to take the Swiss example. It's a very small country if you compare it to France and Germany in terms of lands and everything you want. And it is being competitive. People go for a Swiss watch, go for a Swiss knife, go for a Swiss chocolate, although go for a Swiss cheese, although all around you have France, Belgium for chocolate, Germany, etc. So basically, yes, if we know how to position ourselves, how to brand our country, we need a nation branding. We need to brand ourselves, our serious people who are working on authentic products, doing it the right way, the authentic products, having transparency, and we at Fairtrade Lebanon are ready to help and to support all the SMEs and the big companies that are willing to abide by these principles, not only for the sake of the principles, not only to have this certification, putting it somewhere and being happy, yes, I have a certification, but to respect, out of respect of the Lebanese community abroad who's going to buy these products. We want to sell a good product. We don't want to be much more expensive than another one, but people need to know that this is not an industrial one, it's an authentic one. We're really working out on clean products. This is something that is really today, more and more people want authentic and clean products that are not, all kind of added things in it. When you want to eat a jam, it has to be jam, not a mixture of things without any fruit in it. So basically, we need to promote, we need to nation brand this country and to say, and about niche, authenticity, and quality products. If we do this, yes, every one of us, or those who are abroad and those who are here, would be proud of this portal, of this platform that is giving Lebanon a nice face abroad. And for ourselves, it's our pride. When one of my producers in the south knows that his olive oil is sent, or his za'atar is sold today at Sahadi's in Brooklyn, what pride this brings to him, besides money and the cost of it. So this is pride, our pride. We need to work on our pride. Morale is down in Lebanon. We need to bring light. And this is what I hope this webinar will
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so, Philippe. Christian, you're doing a great job. And I have a last question on the polls. If before all the spectator and the attendee leaves, please, if you can answer this one. If you have a financial platform at your disposal for impact investment in Lebanon, with full transparency, of course, would you be willing to promote it to your clients or invest yourself? Yes, maybe, or no? If we can have an answer, it would be nice.
Yes, massif. Yeah.
Oh, great. I love it. I love it. That's a good news.
Zero knows.
Thank you, Jihan. Thank you, assistants. Thank you for everyone. Now, I think it's we can keep on speaking a lot. I mean, but I think we have to put an end. It's already 1 hour lapse, and we can maybe open it for question and answer. I can see a lot of questions without any answer. Maybe we can answer them later, Jihan. But if you can open it for the
no, Christian's been very good. Christian's been answering in writing, so you can all see also the answers.
Okay, great, great.
But if you have any questions, do pop them in the Q&A and we can...
Now for the participant, if you have maybe you can open the micro for the participant if they need to ask a question.
Yeah, if anybody wants to raise their hand, I can unmute you.
Yes, please. And I think maybe we should have asked the question for the next webinar if they want us to dig more about this creation of a platform and promoting other companies like Terroir du Liban and creating a platform. If someone can help us on that one, maybe we can open a next webinar on that.
Yeah, don't hesitate to drop me an email and I'll happily put you in contact with Philippe and Christian.
We'll do a debriefing tomorrow.
Yeah.
any
no, I think they've been very
silent.
Very well. I think we've answered a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we have one hand.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So it's Faisal Badran. You can go ahead. Can you unmute yourself? That's it. Faisal, can you hear us?
Hi guys, I'm calling from Dubai. Excellent stuff. It's nice to get some uplifting, an uplifting vantage point on things for sure. The question I have is maybe a bit of a long-term and philosophical in nature. I see the point. I see the value. In fact, I would invest myself. I would also seek people in the GCC to look at investments in those sectors that you mentioned. The question is about materiality and moving the needle. Does this really, because obviously the title of the webinar, enticing, can it move the needle for the country as a whole, do you think? Or are these going to be, I mean, these are great initiatives again, and these are high value food and other sectors where, you know, margins are good, etc. But what is your sense? Is this something that can really become big for Lebanon?
Yes, thank you for your question. This is one of the main subjects at Fairtrade Lebanon. We won an award with the U.S. government, State Department, to create in Lebanon an export bureau. This export bureau would be will be hosted at the Ali, which is the Association of Lebanese Industrialists in Lebanon, and would be also supported by the BDL. Now the BDL is not maybe keen on supporting because they have their own issues, but the export bureau is a reality. We have also trained several times all of our economic attaches that are today in 20 of most maybe important countries, and they are today working to make this happen, to help us enter these markets. So basically, the number of companies, of SMEs that are going to join this export bureau to start with are 100 new SME who have agreed on the principles of authenticity, transparency, accountability, and also communication about what they are doing, who is doing it. And I think what's most important for all of us when we buy a product is to know who's behind it. Is it really going to the producer, or is it going, I don't know where? And today, with 100 companies, SMEs and industrialists starting this cluster system with Fairtrade Lebanon and the Ali, I think that this is something that, yes, can create a boule de neige. Many are reluctant, but with time, when they see that there are successes, I think that we will bring around the table more and more people who want to survive. It's about surviving today. We don't have much choice, I think.
And I'll just add one thing, Faisal, in terms of impact. We're talking about agriculture and agro-processing, which is 25% of our economy. and today is 25% of our exports. So it's the biggest potential that we have. We can have a serious impact by increasing production, increasing export. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about getting money into the country as well. And it's probably the single sector in which we can have the biggest impact. And it's also today it's a question of security. It's a question of food security as well. So you have on one side creating jobs, exporting, getting money in, and on the other side we're talking about food security, right? Which is of extreme importance today. So it could definitely have an impact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think somebody else had their hand up. Can you put it up again? Sorry, I missed it.
Is there anybody who wants to ask questions to Philippe and Christian or to ourselves in Geneva? Well, I suggest we can put an end to this webinar. What do you think, Jean?
Yeah.
Philippe, Christian, anything you want to say before we close the session?
I want to thank a big thanks to all of you, especially to the organizers, Jihan, Fred, and all. Thank you, Salim. Thank you, Jean-Pierre, Jean-Claude. And thank you, all the listeners. And I really hope that this also can be something that we can build on.
Yeah. I mean, we thank you actually, and we support you. And as we have shown the exoskeleton, I mean, we are all here behind you guys, and you have seen the polls and the answer. I'm not the only one saying this, so the majority is very supportive. And just remember, we really don't need the government. We can do a difference ourselves. We are Lebanon, and Lebanon lives through us.
And I think we can warmly congratulate Philippe and Christian for this fantastic job.
Thank you very much, everyone. Jihan and the team in London. Philippe, Christian, merci.
Thank you, everybody.
Looking forward to seeing you here.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.